fellow South Africans, especially to Rob Herschels. This this podcast is in particular is actually in answer to Rob Herschel's earlier podcast regarding the unemployment and where this country is heading. Rob, I think the people in power, the persons that are in power, need to take a deep look at our demographics of our country. I don't think they're doing this. Let's, let's just take one step backwards. We'll come back to Durban and Pietermaritzburg. There's no reason why we cannot resurrect rainbow chickens between Durban and Pietermaritzburg. I cannot see why that cannot be done. I mean, that's going to help the country a lot, especially when it comes to employment. Second of all, going back to northern Natal, Zululand, as we call it, Jozini Dam, that big white elephant that was built by the apartheid government. It's not serving any purpose at the moment. Why do they not build a power station there? A nuclear one, perhaps? At least then they can supply Elusaf in Richards Bay. We all know that Elusaf pulls enough power that you can run, I think, the whole of Johannesburg on the power that they pull, if not more. We all know that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why do not that investment come into it? That we plan something in that area that will create a lot of employment, it will help a lot of people. You can get this thing going between Durban and Maritzburg with the rainbow chickens. I mean, we've got EPOL, we've got everything there in Pietermaritzburg, so the feed is not going to be a problem. Not like what happened to the day chick farm, whatever it was called, that fell apart. At least we know there is feed there for the chickens. They can be supplied by EPOL. Going back to the Zululand story, just think about it. Richards Bay is busy. There's a harbour there. Everything is there. If they don't want to use nuclear, it's not a problem. Richards Bay exports coal every day. They've got a coal terminal there. So from Richards Bay to Jozini, they're on the Mkuzi train line between Richards Bay and Mkuzi. There's no problem for them to get any form of coal in. Yes, I know it'll cost quite a lot of money to set up a power station there. But wouldn't that have been a better on the demographic side of it? Why didn't they think about this in the first place when they built all those power stations up in the Transvaal? Then they've got to transport that power all the way with power lines all the way down to Natal to keep us going, where we could have had our own power stations going right in our own backyard. The whole thing doesn't make sense to me. I mean, the money that they're getting just from Elusaf, which pulls, as I said, I don't know the exact figure, but I think it's a one hell of a lot of, they pull megawatts of power, thousands of megawatts to run that Elusaf plant. So if we get a power station going, it will quickly pay itself back. You get your money back just from Elusaf, from that power plant based at Jozini. It will create so much work and so much employment for so many people. Why doesn't this government needs to catch a fat wake up, as we all say in all of our podcasts? ANC must foot sack. We are tired of ANC hate. We had our apartheid days, now we have going to the ANC hate days. And we're tired of it. We are really tired of this. This is ridiculous what they're doing to us. They're hurting us, sad, terrible. There's another thing too. I don't know if you can recall, in the late 1990s, I actually had my own business at the time. And they introduced that, what was it called, that skills development levy. Remember, we had to all pay towards the skills development levy. Why don't they keep that levy there, but rather change it into an industrial levy for industrialization, and use that money to put back into our country for those people that we've now trained that there's no work for. At least then they can start working. So why don't they take that money now and rather put it into like a power station at Jozini Dam, or getting this chicken farm running? I mean, the whole infrastructure is still there. There's no reason why they cannot. I don't even see it being a lot of money, in a sense. And it sounds like a lot of money to some people, but a couple of million rand, which they spend on a bun fight like that, they're busy having it right at the moment. The most expensive boxing match in the world. as far as I'm concerned. This bloody Indaba that they're doing, what a lot of crap. No, honestly, there's so much potential lying around. We just need to put the pieces together, and it all can come together. That power station could supply LUSAF will automate their consumption will pay back that power station in a very short period of time, I believe, with the power that they pull. And then, as I said, it'll create a lot of employment. So they need to look at why don't they, at least the dam then become, it was no more a white elephant. I know it was built by the apartheid days, and we all know why. It was to protect the border between us and Mozambique. But that is not necessary right now. Our main concern now is getting employment going, and we need employment in this country desperately. We need employment. This is ridiculous what's been taking place. Please, I'm not saying that you have to do this thing, but why don't people think and come up with some solutions to how we can get this country back on the right track? I just want to say to you, Rob, thank you so much for your input. It's invaluable. Your input is too much. I just wish they would open their ears. They must all go for a hearing test, those people in Parliament, honestly. They need to definitely go down to the mines, to the hospitals there, and go and have their ears checked and their eyes. Because they don't seem to see, they don't see what's going on, and they definitely don't hear they don't hear the South African people who are crying for employment. It's the only way we're going to get rid of this frigging crime and unhappiness and bitterness that's taking place. And all this is going to lead to is this black and white hate, which I cannot take anymore. Really, it's just too much.
It's getting out of control.
It's not necessary. We don't need that. We need to divert that energy into getting our country back on track, not into a civil war. That's where they're heading. They're taking all that energy and turning it into violence and crime and nothing positive.
Imagine if they turned
But
all
I'd
that
really
energy.
appreciate it if you could give me a little bit of feedback on this. I'd really love to have that feedback. Please excuse my stuttering. If you look back further into my podcast, you'll understand I am a stroke victim, a stroke patient. That's why sometimes my concentration isn't that good. It looks like I got notes in front of me, but believe you me, you don't want to see my handwriting. I'd have to change my name to doctor.
Yeah, you got a doctor's handwriting.
I've got a doctor's handwriting now. I can't even read my own handwriting anymore since the stroke. Hey, I don't know. But I mean, if I'm a person that's had a stroke, what have these people had if they can't think for themselves? They must have had some serious strokes in their life. I'm an old fart now, sitting in a chair for the rest of my life, and I can think further than my nose. It's time they started doing the same thing.
Yeah, and as I was going to say, they must put more of their energy into something that is more positive than,
all this negative nonsense.
And then negativity, they must rather spend it on.
But please, Rob, and all my fellow South Africans, please, you people have a great weekend, evening further, and we will definitely talk about this again. I'd really love your comments on this one. Please, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. Lisa, could you close for me, please, my pumpkin?
Okay, yes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to The Solution and watching our channel. Take care. God bless and have a good evening further.